Great. Welcome everyone to Flowcode for Marketing. Today, we'll be walking you through how you can implement Flowcode and use it in your marketing efforts. But meet your hosts. My name is Corinne, and I am joined by Georgette, who is a client success manager here at Flowcode. We'll be walking you through our solution, our products and features that you can use, how it's been used in the past, and potential use cases for you in your business. Additional features that you might not know about and we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of. And then lastly, we will have a Q&A at the end, so feel free to add in any questions that you have in the little Q&A box or the chat box as well, so that we can address them all at the end, but feel free to add them in as they come up throughout the presentation. First, to start off in 2023, this is a little recap of trends and everything that's happening within the marketing space, consumer space. So consumers want seamless omnichannel experiences that are personal, authentic, and unique. So in order to achieve these goals, we are going to discuss some ways in which Flowcode can help you get there, but you can adopt O2O marketing, which is offline to online, and Flowcode helps you bridge that gap. And you can enable curated online experiences through customization and data, which Flowcode can also help you achieve. So we'll be addressing all these points, helping you stay a leader in your industry and increase your following on social media. And I will pass it over to Georgette to talk about Flowcode and our solution.
Awesome. Thanks, Corinne, and welcome in again, everyone. Really excited to be here and also to have you all here with us. So yeah, let's jump into our solution, a little bit about who Flowcode is. So we call ourselves the direct-to-consumer company, and really what that means is we connect consumers to your brand through our technology. And today we are super, super proud to say we've worked with over 300 million creators on our platform. As a result, we've had over 385 million connections made in over 120 plus countries. And we've learned from all of these incredible partners. These are just a few. We've kind of had many learnings across the last few years, and they are really the reason for our success. And we'll talk a little bit about what differentiates Flowcode from standard QR, which I imagine is the reason why many of us are on this webinar today. And the very first kind of concept we'd like to touch on is the Flowcode design. And I think that's very obvious looking at this screen. I think traditionally we are all very used to seeing that cookie cutter, kind of black and white, for lack of a better word, pretty boring QR code on the left side of the screen. And then you kind of enter Flowcode. So we've got some artist designed, beautifully branded codes. And you'll see a lot of these different styles of codes throughout the presentation. And these could also reflect your brand, especially when you're on the Flowcode platform. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. Also, the dynamic nature of Flowcodes. So all Flowcodes have unlimited scan destination changes. It just means that if you print out your Flowcode, something changes in your marketing strategy. Let's say you're using it for real estate and a listing goes off the market. Rather than reprinting your collateral, you can just go into our platform and update that destination in real time. No reprinting needed. So really awesome feature there. The data, we are a completely data-driven company. Every product within our platform is trackable through real-time data and analytics and a real-time API as well. And we will talk all about the data towards the end of this presentation, so make sure you stick around. Privacy, so GDPR and CCPA compliant. We are amongst one of the most privacy compliant QR codes on the market today. So there is a level of insurance when you are scanning a code that your data is safe with us. So we do not collect any personally identifiable information when a customer or you scans a Flowcode. No name, email, phone number can be collected at the point of scan. All of that can be collected, though, through a contact collection widget with our sister product, Flowpage, and I'll get through that in a bit, but little teaser there. All of our designs are patent protected and they're quality assured. They go through a rigorous QA process across multiple devices to make sure that they're scanning beautifully in the real world. So really important there to make sure your codes are scanning. And then lastly, I briefly mentioned this, but Flowpage, it is a customizable mobile landing page, really an extension of your brand. And Corinne will flip to the next slide and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Awesome. So Flowpage, like I said, mobile landing page, really, we say it's an extension of your brand specifically because this is a fully customizable page. I mean, you can use this for things like, collecting contact information. Maybe you're launching a new product and you want to promote it at the campaign level. This was kind of born to avoid sending, your customer directly to your website and really banking on them to choose their own adventure. You can create a really curated, customizable and targeted experience on this page. And from a marketing perspective, what's really cool is that you can implement a third-party pixel, Facebook pixel. So now you can kind of retarget or create a lookalike audience from these pages. And I talked a little bit about contact collection here, but you'll see on the 3 wishes example on the left, it'll pop up in a bit. There is a form that can be embedded or it can just live passively on this page, which will allow you to collect information or first-party data. Yep, there it is. Like name, email, phone number, and also some custom attributes. I always like to use the real estate example. It's always the one in front of mind. But if you need to know things like, pre-approval, just things like that, just to get to know your audience a little more. And again, it's an opt-in functionality. So customers are opting in to stay in the know with you. And we do have several CRM integrations as well. So we'll talk about that later on as also. And then last note here, it's a no-code platform. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, I'm not an HTML, JavaScript expert, neither am I. So that's good news for all of us. This is a no-code platform, super easy to plug and play here. I mean, you can make a beautiful page and, anywhere from 60 seconds. And depending on how creative you want to get, maybe it'll take you an hour if you're like me. So yeah, just a few notes on Flowpage, but we can go to the next slide here. Awesome. Yeah, and then when we kind of think about our suite overall, I mean, it's everything works hand in hand with each other. So we have your Flowcode QR code on the left-hand side. That's a beautifully branded code and then can scan to an even more branded, curated experience using Flowpage. So you just see the BMW example here. And now suddenly you can track real-time data and analytics for Flowcode and Flowpage. So that means you can track how many clicks, scans, the traffic you're getting, the top link clicks, and you can just embed really a bevy of options on the Flowpage too, videos, polling, commerce widgets. I can't go through them all on this call, but just so you can get an idea kind of how the full suite works together. Yeah, and really convert your customers instantly anywhere across the globe. So 64% of US customers time spent with media is not on the internet. So put these, everywhere you go in the real world. You'll hear a lot of terminology related to offline behavior and offline to online. So most consumers are living in the real world, and how can we collect or engage with them or meet our consumers where they're at? So beautiful out-of-home example here, little scan to Starbucks, scan to any promotion, scan to order as well. And there's a really huge market. You'll see 31 billion, the projected global ad spend on connected TV by 2026. So I imagine we'd want to kind of measure that spend is truly effective, as well as print and offline channels like, out of home campaigns, print mailers on the right-hand side as well. There's a lot of spend that goes into print marketing as well. So really the whole concept is measuring marketing attribution using Flowcode. And I'll pass it over to Corinne to talk a little bit about use cases.
Great. Thank you, Georgette. That was a perfect segue into the use cases because we'll be talking about all the ways that you can implement Flowcode in your business practices. So here you can see a bunch of different examples, as Georgette had talked about a little bit. CRM collection, that just stands for customer relationship management. So it's really just contact information that you're collecting. So the ability to know who's scanning so that you can create direct relationships and integrate with some of our automated processes, so that you can use your own third-party platform like HubSpot, Zapier, MailChimp, etc. We'll go into that more later, so you know what exactly you can integrate with. Next, we have on-screen integrations. So we see how effective the TV tool is and how popular it's getting. As Georgette just mentioned, more people are going to be looking for ways to tap into that. And then how can you measure your effectiveness of it? So using the data on the back end to see how much engagement it's getting so that you can really understand, all right, is it worth putting our budget into? How do we want to allocate our money moving forward? Next, digitizing printing materials. So with the rise of NFTs and augmented reality or AR, people are really trying to find ways to have portals into the digital world from the material world. So being able to digitize, this is what we mean, printed materials by building experiences across all of them and having them act as that transportation into the digital world where they can then just interact with any of your ecosystem of things, whether it's socials, writing reviews, your website, buying products online, you name it, you can do. Next is contactless payments. So again, making seamless experiences for your customers and removing any pain points that they may have, especially when it comes to events or checking out in person. There might be long lines or long wait times, but this allows people to instantly check out so that you don't have to worry about any frustrations. And then lastly, omnichannel connections, just creating a cohesive experience across all touch points to your consumers so you can increase brand awareness and also make sure that your customer journey is the same and that you can touch as many people as possible throughout all of them. And then here we're just talking about a little bit of out of home. It's one of the biggest industries in terms of marketing. So you want to be able to create those interactive and measurable experiences for customers. So you're able to see, again, as we've mentioned, that comparative analytics for out of home. So you can see what's driving the most engagement, what's most effective in terms of placement, calls to action, and scan education. You don't want to just slap on a flow code to your marketing and say, I did what I can do. Let's see how it performs on its own. You really want to make sure that you're implementing all the best practices that we have, and that's including scan for more, scanned for our giveaways, scan to sign up for our newsletter, scan the QR code to enter, just having things that tell the consumer what to do so that they know what they're getting into by scanning. You know, those actions are intentional. So they really want to engage with your brand, and telling them why they should is important. Next, again, custom codes, really important. They act as an extension of your brand rather than just a generic black and white QR code. And then lastly, again, I touched on this a little bit, best practices, making sure that you're most successful by including those calls to action and not just slapping it in the bottom corner, but having it be visible right in front of people so they know that it's something that they should be interacting with. Here is one of our case studies with Fjallraven. We did a direct mailer campaign with them in Colorado. So you can see that it had a 40% response rate, and we attribute it to a 7% in-store lift on traffic and a 3% scan rate. So you can imagine that this was really telling information for them, because here's their target list and the scan by location. They were able to see exactly where people were coming from, and using the API from Flowcode, which is one of our best tools that you can access with ProFlex and Enterprise. You're able to add a unique code to each mailer so you can see who's exactly interacting with this. at a household level and then attribute it to your sales again, which is a really powerful tool when thinking about how you want to implement it and where you want to implement Flowcode. Next is our Supergoop activation. You can see that they used it throughout their store, and with the data, they were able to see that 3 p.m. was the highest scanning hour of the day. So that in turn shows them when the in-store traffic is highest, they can then try and figure out processes that work best, how to engage people on a deeper level at that time, and what they might want to be showing, whether it's night care skin routines because it is later on in the day, things like that. Then they also saw that 90% of scanners had iPhones. So if they wanted to drive a call to action to download their app, they could say, iOS, here it is in the App Store. And then again, that geolocation, which is so important, seeing what states and cities are most active as well. Here we have Flowcode for TV, a UFC example. We were able to see that 7,000 scans came in just 1 minute of airtime, and 376 tickets were sold from this portion, the segment, and then it had a 5.4% conversion rate. So you can really see how successful these things are and how you can benefit from them. Is it worth the investment? And again, just the effectiveness of it, because as we know, we're coming into a time of financial constraint. So just we want to squeeze the most out of each dollar that we can. And Flowcode, is a really effective tool in doing that. Here are some other recent TV activations that we've had. You can see The Skin by Kim K. We had Sarant. Welch's just did one with us. So big brands are using it and know how impactful Flowcode is. So why not use it yourself? Another use case, Big Ten sweepstakes. You can stakes. Oh, sorry, it's Wednesday. It's been a long week already. We had over 2,000 unique CRM collections, and that's just unique contacts with over 1.5 thousand scans and 100% conversion rate. So you can see that this is really effective. People intentionally scan the Flowcode because they want to interact. They want to engage with your brand on a deeper level. And then just in general, Flowcode on tour. We were recently used for a tour of a global pop star. We were included in 20 tour stops, and I'll let the data speak for itself, but you could see that there was 100 times a return on investment attributed to using Flowcode. So again, just hammering in on the point that you can see where the return is coming back and how much money per scan you're getting. So the proof is in the pudding. It's right there. It's been proven multiple times. If you have any questions on this, again, feel free to pop them in the Q&A box. But just there really isn't anywhere you can't put a Flowcode. Here are just some mocks that our team has made showing the possibilities. But again, increasing those touch points is incredibly important. And I will pass it to Jet for additional features.
Awesome. Thanks, Corinne. And I love the last use cases. The Bumble Bus is brand new to my eyes. I never saw that one. I love that campaign.
Right? I mean, that would
Cool.
catch my eye and make me want to scan.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. So let's roll into some of the advanced features included with pretty much any plan outside of the free plan. So there's free, pro, and then there's all the way up to enterprise. We obviously can't get through everything during this webinar, but one really unique feature to our product is something called Smart Rules. And so that allows you to redirect a single Flowcode QR code to multiple destinations. So what does this actually mean? Best example I could give is if you are a restaurant owner and you have a code in replacement of your menu, during the day, you probably have a different lunch menu than your dinner menu. So you can actually automate or program that code to redirect a user based on 3 parameters, which will be the day of the week and the time of day. And then also if you are promoting an app, device type is also really convenient if you need to direct someone to the right app store based on their iOS device. So really neat tool there included with any of the paid plans. Next is bulk creation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about bulk creating codes and then touch on our API a bit as well. But bulk creating codes simply allows you to create multiple flow codes with the same design at one time. And the number one question at the end of every webinar is, why on earth do I need more than one? And it's a great question. We talk a lot about data, measuring marketing attribution, measuring success. So if you put a unique code on all of your marketing, if you are sending out mailers, and you can do this at the household level, maybe you have specific promo codes or personal details attached at the household level. This is where the bulk creation tool, or creating unique flow codes, comes into play. And it's a really easy self-service tool in your in the platform if you need to generate, up to a couple thousand flow codes at a time. But let's say you are, heavily engaged in print marketing, doing self-service is not the answer. You may want to use our API, which really just allows you to generate hundreds of thousands of millions of unique flow codes so that you can then, have your print vendor print out some nice mailers. And if you do need access to our API, definitely contact us. We'd love to have a little chat with you. But yep, that's just a little bit on saving time and effectiveness. So CRM, we talked about this. I think we hit it over the head a few times and we got our point across. But one thing that I'll add is that with FlowPage, when you do collect contact information, you can actually feed this contact information automatically into your customer database. And currently today, we integrate with Salesforce, Zapier, HubSpot, Klaviyo, and MailChimp. So these are very common customer database systems. There are thousands out there. So if you do not see one that fits your business or what you're using today, do not worry. You can export this data as a CSV template and upload it directly to your CRM. So 2 clicks and it's uploaded. A little manual work there, but it is a workaround. And in the future, we'll always be adding new automations. And then just to kind of wrap it all up, we talked about unlimited scans. So unlimited scans, clicks across the board, you will never get kind of capped on that limit with Flowcode. And then obviously you saw beautiful, beautiful codes, especially throughout Corinne's presentation with use cases. So if you are a pro customer and above, you will get a custom designed flow code to match your branding. So a real human being at Flowcode is designing your code with your design details included. So if you do need access to that form, we can definitely share it to you if you don't have it already. But when you do sign up, you should get the marketing email. Next, flow pages, we hit the nail on the head with that. Won't go into it too much anymore, but it is included with all plans for you to play around with. And then lastly, of course, behind every piece of our product is a human to support you and guide you along the way. So we're happy to share best practices. We just launched a Flowcode certification course, a university course. So if you feel confident that when you sign up, you want to become an expert and flaunt your stuff, I highly encourage you go through the course. It's also a really great onboarding kind of tool for you as well. And I'll pass it over to Corinne, who's going to talk a little bit more about the data included with Flowcode.
Great. Thanks, Georgette. We have briefly alluded to this following or leading up to it, but data and analytics are really where our tool shines and where you can see that interaction, that engagement that was previously never measurable before, especially in marketing. Georgette did say that we have real-time analytics, but just to reinforce what that means is you can see scans, clicks, page views coming in at real time by the second. So if you're in your dashboard and people are interacting with your codes or your pages, you're able to see that number going up in real time. With our free account, you can see scans by date, but with the paid plans, you're able to see a little bit more robust information, including top performing codes, traffic breakdown. So you can see actually what devices people are using, day of the week, and then also hour of the day, so that you can understand how you might be able to maximize engagement across those and why might certain times or days be more engaged with than others. And then with ProFlex and Enterprise, you have access to more enriched data. So that's unique scanners versus all-time scans, then also geolocation. You can add in a geo tracker that allows people to opt in and say, here's my exact location, just more information on that. And then also more in-depth integrations and just, again, more custom reports. With those higher tiers, you do still have great access to really telling information at the paid levels and even the free, honestly. But I will go into the next slide just to talk about flow tag quickly. So this is one of our print store options, and I'll actually go to this one to give you a holistic view. But we just launched our new template experience. So you can create and customize directly in our platform, add your codes to flyers, business cards, you name it. It really allows you to customize this to your heart's content. You can add in pictures, your own hex colors, drag and drop. But this is the best way to make sure your code's successful, is to get it into a printed material or even a digital one and just get it out into the world so people can start scanning and engaging with it. And with the plan discounts, you get 20% with Pro and 30% with Pro Plus and above. So just a little incentive there. For the paid plans, we want to let you know what valuable customers you are to us, and make sure that you're as successful as possible. So with that, we'll get into the Q&A. I do have to drop, but I can stop sharing and let Georgette take the wheel because you're in great hands with her. And I know that we already have a question. We'll be following up by the end of the day with the recording, as well as some other resources that will be helpful. But Georgette, let me know if you need anything.
Cool. Yeah, that's perfect. I sent you a message on the side current too, but we're good.
Great.
We can, I got this.
Okay. Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome.